Hi, it's Jen, and thanks for joining me today. Today I'm making some cards. I'm doing kind of a mashup of different stamps, but also using them as they are and by themselves. I think it's fun to mix and match stamps and kind of layer them or put them together to see what you get. So the stamps I'm using are this Picket Studios Vortex of Hearts and also the visible image stamp, which is called See Everything. I absolutely love that stamp. It's so cool. So I'm going to take some VersaFine Clair in Morning Mist, which is a gray color. It's pretty light. And ink up my stamp and stamp it up using my We Are Memory Keepers platform. And then I'm going to take the visible image stamp and put it right on top of that. And I've already used my embossing bag, so this is going to be heat embossed in black. So I'm going to go ahead and ink that up in VersaFine Clair in Nocturne, which is the black ink. And I ink up the whole stamp except for the bottom portion has these like two people, and I didn't want that on this card, so I just inked up to the bottom right up above where that portion is. And then I'm going to use Ranger black embossing powder and spread that over the image, and I'll go ahead and set that with my heat tool. And I think it looks really cool just alone, just black and white, and I think the card could have been left like that. I'm using some Liquitex acrylic ink, which is acrylic ink in more liquid form than the acrylic ink that you would find in like the Craft Smart acrylic inks. Or the ones that you would use on your jelly plates. Those are a little bit thicker than this. And these come out in a dropper. And I thought I'd go ahead and try these. They're on sale this week at Michael's. Buy one, get one 50% off. And so you can do a lot with them. You can watercolor with them. They're pretty vivid colors. And so I thought I'd try them out. So I'm just putting different colors around the card, but not completely covering the card with color. I do leave some spots that are just still the stamped image with no color in them, and I think that looks fine. And then I bought this liquid acrylic ink in this metallic gold, and I go ahead and use that mainly in the eye portion. I think it kind of gives a little bit of a sparkle. And then I added a sentiment strip from the Tim Holtz sticker book. It's called Small Talk, I believe. And that completes that card. And I added a little bit of white kind of for the reflection in the eye with some white paint. And that will complete that first card. So this second card is just the Pinkfish Studios, Picket Studios, a Vortex of Heart stamp. And so I went ahead and used my embossing bag and stamped that image up in using my watermark pad, and then put some white embossing powder from Recollections. And I'm going to use Lindy's Stamp Gang Magical Shakers. I love Lindy's products, the magical shakers, the sprays. They're just gorgeous, and the color variation in their mixes is just beautiful. And so I was going through my swatch book trying to figure out which colors that I wanted. So I'm going to use the aged copper, and then I will also use the a pink color, and that is Alpine Ice Rose. So I'm just going to spread those on the mat and take a paintbrush and spread them dry onto my card. So I spread the powder almost in a, I don't know, a flower shape, I guess. And this spreading the powders kind of flat on the card doesn't give as great of a variation in color as you would if you just sprinkled it and sprayed with water, or sprayed with water and sprinkled it in. Just because I think probably because I'm flattening it out with the brush. But as you can see, when I use my sprayer to spray with water, it does, I just think their colors are beautiful. I love the shakers and the sprays. They're some of my favorite products. I absolutely love them. So I'm just kind of trying to spread the liquid without putting too much water, so that's why I was taking my brush, and here I'm just taking a little bit of the excess liquid and splattering in that, and then I take my heat tool and dry it as much as I can, and then I set it aside to dry completely. And I'm just taking some dies from my stash. The rectangle one is a Pink Fresh Studios stitched rectangle die, and then the other one I'm not certain where that's from, but it's the die from my stash. And so I go ahead and glue down the base portion, excuse me, and pop up that middle portion. And the stamp is by Altenew. It's called One Friend. And then I take a couple little pearl embellishments and stick those on the card, and then this pink a sunflower embellishment from Queen and Company, and that'll complete that card. And for the last card, I'm just using the visible image stamp. So I'm going to ink it up in Morning Mist. This isn't being embossed, it's just inked up on a panel. And I got my distress markers out because I don't have that many of them really. And I don't buy them anymore. I don't plan on continuing my collection, but I don't use them often. So I thought I'd pull them out, and I'm just coloring, just like the first image, kind of some random colors and areas. And then I got the my Wink Stella. They're kind of like ballpoint glitter pens instead of the brush pens. They're more of a fine tip. And so they were really great for going over the lines on this and coloring in the smaller spaces, which is a little more difficult when you have the brush tips. So, and these are something that I don't use very often, that I've had for a while, so I thought I'd get these out. I did take the black distress marker and outline the eye and some of the areas so that they were a little bit darker. And then I'm taking the sentiments that came in the stamp set, which is one of them says open your eyes, and the other one says see everything. For the reflection in the eye, I am using my Sharpie white paint pen, and the one that I have, this is the only paint pen I have, the tip is very thick, and so I didn't want to put that much on the eye, and so I just kind of pushed the pen out on a little bit onto a piece of paper and took my paintbrush and spread the white out. And then I'm cutting the card down a little bit, and I'll mount that on a piece of purple cardstock or card base. And that will complete the cards for this video. I had a blast creating these cards, and I hope you enjoyed watching the process. If you liked this video or found it informative, please go ahead and give me a thumbs up. As always, if you would like to subscribe, go ahead and hit that red subscribe button. Thanks so much for joining me. Leave a comment, and hopefully I'll catch you later. Thank you so much.